You know what really worries me, Justin Pooni?
What's that?
The Leafs' reaction after the game. At least from a few of the Leafs. So Sunday morning, after games, any morning, I watch the post game just to hear what Keefe has to say and the players have to say. Usually, there's not too much in there, but I noticed that it was almost like, oh well, we played well, but couldn't get it over the line. We'll learn from this. It was a good test, and I really didn't like those responses. So I kind of sat on it. I'm like, am I going to bring this to the podcast and ask Justin Pooni? So I kind of sat on it. I put it away. And then on Sunday, I just happened to see JT Miller with the Vancouver Canucks talk about their loss to the Washington Capitals and the way he responded to it and how upset he was. And he was talking about accountability and all these things. And I noticed there's a big difference about the way he handled that and what he said. So let me play both of them, and then we'll kind of break it down and see where we're at. So let's start with the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're going to hear Tavares, Robertson, and William Nylander.
Just got to continue to stay with it, be really disciplined. But for most of the night, we did a lot of good things, put ourselves in a good spot.
We weren't as sharp as we could be. I thought we played a good game up until probably the end of the third, and but I get it, guys are tired, and sometimes mistakes happen. So I guess we can learn from that and just move on from it.
Yeah, I think we were skating and working really hard. I mean, against these guys, you really got to grind your way to get your chances. So I think we did a really good job of doing that. And I mean, playing a team like this is probably where I know what playoff hockey is going to be close to be like. So I think that was a good test for us, and I thought we played really well.
I don't want to say they don't care, because clearly they do care. But it's almost like they're just dismissing what happened, and there's no that wasn't good enough. That can't happen again. We're at the business end of the season. I know we're stuck in a third spot, and we can't really go north or south in the standings. We are where we are, but we need to be better. I was hoping to hear that, and I didn't. I want more. I want some anger. I want some accountability. I want to hear some leadership. I heard no leadership in those clips, and I almost feel bad putting Nick Robertson in there because he just got called up. Right? It's not on. It shouldn't be on him to address the media after a loss like that.
But I know you have a big problem with, first of all, with William Nylander not wearing a shirt.
No, I don't have a big problem. I just
it grinds your gears.
Now
it pisses you off.
It's a gimmick now, right?
It pisses you off. But look,
it's a gimmick.
You're looking for accountability from guys that have shown zero accountability their whole career, right? They are what they are. They just don't hold themselves.
Their whole career, but.
Well, I mean, the whole career with the Toronto Maple Leafs,
right?
I mean, have we ever seen John Tavares really stand up and say anything of any substance whatsoever?
Shouldn't the captain be really upset in that situation?
That's not who he is, though, Albert. I
don't care that that's not who he is, but that is, I think that's a problem that's ingrained in this Leafs team right now.
That's why he was always the wrong choice to be the captain.
Okay, I don't think that's a conversation we need to have. But I understand. I don't know if who's the right captain, who's the right cap. We don't know what's happening in that dressing room.
Yeah, we don't know.
And maybe that was addressed in the dressing room, but not in front of the media. That could be the case. This is just me speculating. I just want to see some more fire.
You are the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You are the highest paid player. You have the biggest contract in Toronto Maple Leafs history to William Nylander, right? There's accountability that is given as part of your job. Forget what people want to say about you're not good to the media, this, that, and third. It is your job. It's part of your job to be out there and speak to the media, right? Now, you don't have to. You can half-ass it like John Tavares does and spit out a billion cliches. You can be like William Nylander and not say anything, really.
Yeah.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, their guys are very good at saying a whole lot of stuff that means absolutely nothing, right? I think the only person that is really, truly honest in the media and will say and give the media something and give the fans something of a feel of what's going on in the locker room is the head coach Sheldon Keefe. After that, nobody really says anything, right? Revo will say a few things here or there, funny clips, yada yada. Max Domi will get into that cliche that he puts out once in a while when he's playing well. When he's playing bad, you hear nothing from him. But from the big boys, right? There's no accountability from there.
If you watch those interviews, the only person who seemed to be really affected by it and showed some emotion was Ilya Samsonov. Yeah. And I really thought that. I mean, some of these quotes.
But that's saying something.
John Tavares saying, did a lot of good things and put ourselves in a good spot. Yeah, but you were up 4-2 and you blew that lead and you had a power play in overtime and you couldn't win the game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not overreacting just on one game, but I want to see some more fire from these guys. Please, something. And then you have Nylander saying it was a good test for us ahead of the playoffs. Good. Tell me what test?
There's no more. I'm sick and tired of that.
That's what I'm saying. And it just sounds like he's just saying it just
so annoying.
He's saying it just to say it. Okay, let's roll this JT Miller clip. So let me just tell you what happened. The Canucks played the Capitals on Saturday. They took a 1-0 lead, and the Capitals ended up winning the game 2-1. It was a disappointing loss for the Vancouver Canucks. This is a team who's at the top of the Western Conference. They really shouldn't be upset after a loss like that, considering the season that they've had so far. But here's JT Miller's response to losing that game.
We need to raise our standard, raise our level of execution, raise our level of tenacity and, physicality. I mean, it wasn't good enough today. It wasn't bad, I don't think, but it's not good enough. And every single team we're going to play moving forward is playing for something. You got guys playing for jobs, playing to win the division, playing to win the President's Trophy, playing to win, to get into the play. Like there's a reason for everybody to be playing hard this time of year. There are no easy games, and we need to find a way to rise to the occasion a little bit better than we did in a game like today.
Right there from JT Miller was pure accountability, and he understands the position that his team is in. And this is what I'm saying. There is a clear difference there. And maybe JT Miller is better with the media than those other guys, and so he's able to speak his mind a lot more clearly, because that's definitely something you have to consider. But if you're a Leaf fan and you see those clips, you're like, wow, that's what I want to hear from the guys on our team.
I think, again, when you look at a guy like JT Miller, his personality is a lot more brash, outspoken, and out there. You watch a Canucks game as much as I do. I don't know how many times you catch him on a hot mic dropping an F-bomb in the middle of the game. Like, he's a guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve, and that's why he's a guy who I think bounced around a lot earlier in his career. Now has found a home here in Vancouver, because look at the culture that Rick Tocchet has brought in the year and a half since he's been the head coach, right? Accountability. How many times has he come out and said, the team needs to be better? He's called up Pettersson numerous times this season. He's benched JT Miller before. The Canucks, ever since the All-Star break, have seen their play dissipate quite a bit. They had that impressive 4-game winning streak, but then again, they were up against Colorado. They choked it. Then they played against a team in the Washington Capitals they should have beat. They got up to a quick start and didn't score anything else. JT Miller is a guy who anybody would want to have on the team for that exact same reason you mentioned, Albert. A guy who's going to hold his teammates accountable. And when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, who is a guy in that locker room that's going to hold everybody else accountable, right? Accountability amongst your peers is so important in any workplace, right? You have to hold me accountable to make sure I'm upholding the standards, to make sure that this podcast becomes the best thing we can be, right? Accountability in the workplace is very, very important, right? And when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, you look at this organization and the way it's been run the last 6-7 years, who has been that guy in the locker room to hold these superstars accountable? Nobody.
Yeah, this starts from the top, right? This is with Vancouver, has a lot to do with Rick Tocchet.
Exactly.
I watched his post game too, and yeah, he holds nothing back. It is what it is. He calls it out. He calls a spade, and obviously it's gonna drop down to the players, and they're going to be acting the same way, especially with the leadership core. So anyway, I just wanted to play those two clips and just show you the difference in how certain players, leaders on certain teams, react to certain situations. It's essentially the similar type of situation. The lead wasn't as big for the Vancouver Canucks, but they were put in a position where they probably should have won. Yeah. And the Leafs were in a position throughout that game where they probably should have won. And the reaction by both sets of players just tells you a lot, which concerns me heading into the playoffs. But this is something that's concerned me for the past 8 years now.